come. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Silence is powerful, but transformation, that's unstoppable. Come. A lot of people think the best way to handle a breakup, a betrayal, or being disrespected is by going no contact. Cut them off, ignore them, come, and make them miss you. And yes, that works to some extent, come. But let me introduce you to something even more powerful. Something that doesn't just make them regret losing you, come, but makes you realize you never needed them in the first place. See, no contact is like pressing pause on a situation. It stops the drama, come, cuts off the back and forth, and forces them to sit with their own thoughts. But what if, instead of just pressing pause, become, you press fast forward on your life? What if, instead of sitting around waiting for them to realize your worth, come, you became so unrecognizably successful, happy, and fulfilled that they wouldn't even know how to approach you again, come. This isn't about making them suffer. This isn't about proving a point to them. This is about putting all that energy back into yourself, come. You don't just disappear from their life. You level up so high that by the time they realize what they lost, come, you're already on a whole new playing field. So if you've ever been hurt, if someone ever made you feel like you weren't enough, come, listen carefully, because I'm about to give you the ultimate strategy. Not just to make them regret losing you, but to make sure you never lose yourself again. Stay with me, because by the end of this, come, you'll never look at no contact as the same way again. No contact is a strong move, but self-transformation is an even stronger one. See, come, a lot of people think the key to making someone regret losing them is simply cutting them off. They think blocking a number, ignoring messages, come, and staying silent will do all the work. And sure, sometimes that gets a reaction. Sometimes they notice your absence, come. Sometimes they even come crawling back. But here's the problem. What happens when they do? If you're still the same person, come, with the same wounds, the same pain, the same insecurities, then what's really changed? Come. If all you've done is create space, but haven't used that space to grow, then you're just waiting. And waiting is not power. Growth is power. Come, transformation is power. No contact stops the noise, but self-transformation changes the entire game. See, come, when you really want to shift the dynamic, you don't just remove yourself from someone's life. You evolve into someone they never expected. Come, someone who doesn't need them anymore. Someone who is thriving, glowing, and living their best life. And let me tell you, come, nothing shakes a person more than seeing you become everything they once doubted you could be. Most people use no contact as a tactic, come, not a lifestyle shift. They sit there counting the days, wondering if the other person is thinking about them, waiting for a sign, hoping for a message. That's not power. That's just a quiet version of desperation. Come. True power comes when you stop focusing on whether they're noticing your absence and start focusing on your own presence in your own life. Come. What are you doing with this time? What are you learning? How are you growing? Come. How are you making sure that the next version of you will never settle for the same kind of treatment again? Come. When you start using your energy for yourself instead of for them, everything changes. You stop looking back. You stop wondering. Come. You stop needing validation from the outside. And the funny thing is, that's exactly when they start noticing. Because they can feel it come. They can feel when you've truly moved on. They can sense when you're no longer emotionally tied to them. Come. And that is what creates regret, not the silence itself, but the fact that they realize they no longer have access to you, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. Think about it. If you disappear, but deep down, you're still hoping they'll reach out, come, still checking their social media, still thinking about them every day, you haven't actually left. You're still trapped in the same cycle, come. But when you truly transform, when you shift your focus, when you start building yourself into a person who is so fulfilled, so self-sufficient, come, so undeniably elevated, that's when everything changes. Because at that point, you don't even care if they regret losing you. Come. You're too busy winning. The truth is, when someone hurts you, when they walk away, when they take you for granted, come. The best revenge isn't silence. It's becoming so great that their absence doesn't even feel like a loss anymore. No contact is a strategy. Come. Self-transformation is a lifestyle, and when you commit to that, when you truly put yourself first, come. When you grow into someone who is so unshakably confident, strong, and successful, not only will they regret losing you, come, but you won't even care if they do. A lot of people go no contact because they want to make someone feel bad. They want that person to sit alone, come, thinking about what they lost, feeling the regret, the loneliness, the pain. And listen, that's understandable. When someone hurts you, come. When they betray your trust, when they walk away like you didn't matter, of course, you want them to feel the weight of their actions, come. But here's the problem with that mindset. It still puts them at the center of your focus. It still means your happiness, your healing, come. Your progress is tied to what they feel, not what you do for yourself. See, shifting from revenge to self-elevation is the key to real power. It's easy to think, come, I want them to suffer like I did. But let me ask you this, why waste energy on someone who already proved they didn't value you? Come. The longer you spend trying to figure out how to make them regret, the more control they still have over your life. And that's not real strength. Come. Real strength is realizing they aren't even worth your energy anymore. Instead of focusing on their reaction, come, shift your focus to your own transformation. Because here's the truth, nothing is more powerful than success. When someone does you wrong, come, the best thing you can do isn't to sit around waiting for their regret, come. It's to level up so much that their opinion doesn't even matter anymore. You want real revenge, come. Wake up every day becoming the best version of yourself. Get in shape, build your career, strengthen your mind, come. Surround yourself with people who genuinely love and support you. Do things that make you happy, things that make you feel alive, come. Things that prove to yourself that you never needed them to be great. When you do that, something incredible happens. You start to let go. You stop thinking about them. You stop needing closure. You stop wondering if they miss you because you're too busy enjoying your own life. Come. And the crazy part, that's when they notice. That's when they start feeling that absence in a way they never expected. Come. Because they thought you'd be sitting there waiting, watching, hurting. But instead, come, you became someone they never imagined, someone completely out of their reach. Come. And let me tell you something, nothing confuses a person more than realizing the person they took for granted is doing better without them. Come. They expect sadness. They expect struggle. They expect you to come back eventually. But when they see that you're happy, glowing, successful, come, and unbothered, that's when regret hits the hardest. But here's the best part. By the time they realize it, you won't even care. Because when you truly focus on self-elevation, their regret becomes irrelevant. Come. It won't be about making them feel bad. It'll be about the fact that you genuinely feel good. And when you feel good, when you are thriving, when your life is full, you don't waste time looking back. So don't waste another second plotting how to make them suffer. Come. Don't waste another moment hoping they regret what they did. Put all that energy into yourself. Come. Because the real power move isn't in making them feel bad. It's in making yourself feel unstoppable. Come. Healing is not about waiting for an apology that may never come. It's not about sitting there hoping one day they'll wake up, come, realize what they did, and come running back with tears in their eyes, begging for another chance. No. Healing is about moving forward whether they apologize or not, come. It's about understanding that their actions were never a reflection of your worth, but of their own shortcomings, come. And the moment you stop expecting closure from them and start creating closure for yourself, that's when you truly take your power back, come. A lot of people get stuck in this cycle of waiting. They wait for the message. They wait for the guilt to hit the other person, come. They wait for a moment where everything will finally make sense, where they will get the validation they crave. Come, but let me ask you this. Why put your peace in someone else's hands? Why let the person who broke you be the one to decide when you finally heal? Come, that's like getting cut by a knife and then waiting for the knife to stitch you back up. It doesn't work that way. The truth is, some people will never give you closure because they don't even have the emotional depth to understand what they did wrong. Some people will never say sorry because they don't want to admit they were in the wrong. Some people will never change because they don't see a reason to. And if you spend your life waiting on that, you're wasting valuable time that could be spent building yourself into someone who doesn't need that apology to move on. See, real healing isn't about what they do. It's about what you do. It's about making the decision every single day to let go of the hurt, the anger, the betrayal, not for them, but for you. Because the longer you hold on to that pain, the more power they still have over you. And let me tell you something. The best way to heal isn't to wait for them to regret hurting you. It's to make sure that regret is completely irrelevant to your happiness. Now, I know that's easier said than done. Pain doesn't just disappear overnight. You don't just wake up one morning and suddenly feel nothing for someone you once cared about. But every day that you choose to focus on yourself, every moment you spend working on your own growth instead of dwelling on the past, you take a step closer to true healing. And eventually, you reach a point where you look back and realize that their absence was never the loss you thought it was. It was a gift, a blessing in disguise. And here's what's crazy. When you truly move on, when you stop needing closure from them, when you find peace on your own, that's when they start feeling it. Because people expect you to wait. They expect you to be stuck. They expect you to be broken without them. And when they realize that you're not, that's when they start wondering what went wrong. But by the time they do, you won't even care because you'll have already built a life so full, so happy, so complete that their regret won't mean a damn thing. You won't need their apology. You won't need their validation. You won't need anything from them. And that right there is true power. Silence is powerful. It speaks louder than words, stronger than arguments, and deeper than explanations. When someone hurts you, the natural instinct is to react, to explain yourself, to demand answers, to show them how much they messed up. But let me tell you something. Sometimes the best thing you can do is say nothing at all. People expect a reaction. They expect you to beg, to cry, to get angry, to chase after them. They expect to see proof that they still have a hold on you. But when you remove yourself from the chaos, when you step back and go quiet, you disrupt their expectations completely. You take back control without even lifting a finger, because silence forces them to sit with themselves. And trust me, most people aren't ready for that. See, when you argue, when you plead, when you try to make them see your worth, you're still giving them access to you. You're still allowing them to dictate your emotions. But when you go silent, that's when they start feeling your absence. That's when the weight of their actions starts to sink in. Because for the first time, they can't distract themselves with your pain. They can't reassure themselves that you'll always be there. And that scares them more than anything. Silence does something else too. It gives you space to breathe, to heal, to focus on yourself instead of wasting energy trying to prove something to someone who already showed you they didn't appreciate you. When you stay quiet, you shift the focus from them back to you. You start pouring into yourself instead of pouring into someone who took you for granted. And as time passes, you start to realize that you never needed them to recognize your worth. You needed to recognize it for yourself. A lot of people are afraid of silence because they think it means weakness. They think if they don't respond, if they don't fight back, it means they're losing. But listen, silence isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's understanding that not every battle is worth fighting. It's knowing that your energy is too valuable to waste on someone who is never going to appreciate your words anyway. And here's the thing. When you go silent, you give them the chance to experience life without you. They get to feel what it's like not having you there, not hearing from you, not feeling your presence. And let me tell you, absence is a powerful teacher. You don't have to tell someone they lost something good. Let them figure that out on their own. Let them sit in the quiet, in the space you left behind, and let them wonder. And what happens when they finally do realize? When they finally start missing what they took for granted. Well, by then, you'll be so far ahead in your healing, in your growth, in your happiness that their regret won't even matter. Because silence didn't just make them think, it made you stronger. It made you understand that you were always enough, with or without them. And that's the real win. When someone takes you for granted, they assume you'll always be there. They assume that no matter how they treat you, you'll keep coming back, keep forgiving, keep waiting. That's why pulling away, stepping back, and shifting your focus is so powerful. It shakes their entire world. See, people don't appreciate something until it's gone, and when you stop giving them the attention, energy, and love they once had unlimited access to, that's when they start to notice what they lost. Most people think that proving their worth means explaining, convincing, or fighting for someone to see it. But real proof isn't in your words, it's in your absence. It's in what happens when you stop showing up, stop answering, stop pouring into them. That's when they feel it. That's when they realize that they never had to ask for your love, but now they have to wonder where it went. The moment you stop making yourself available to someone who took you for granted, the dynamic shifts. Suddenly, they're left with a void they didn't expect. They assumed you'd always be there, always trying to fix things, always willing to give another chance. But now they're faced with something even more unsettling than anger or confrontation. Your silence, And silence leaves room for reflection. See, when you were there, they didn't have to think about what life would be like without you. They had the comfort of knowing you'd always be around. But once you pull away, they start questioning things. They start wondering if maybe they pushed too far, if maybe they made a mistake, if maybe, just maybe, you were the best thing they ever had. And they just didn't see it in time. Now, let me be clear. You're not doing this for them. You're not stepping back to teach them a lesson or to play games. You're doing it because your peace, your happiness and your self-worth come first. And the moment you realize that you don't need to beg someone to value you, that's the moment you become unstoppable. But here's where it gets interesting. Once they start feeling your absence, once they start missing the love, support, and presence they took for granted, they start chasing. They start trying to reach out, trying to fix what they broke, trying to regain the access they once had. But by then, you're not the same person anymore. You've grown, you've healed, and you've learned that anyone who didn't appreciate you when they had you doesn't deserve a second chance to take you for granted again, And this is the most powerful part of all. When you move on, when you focus on yourself, when you find happiness without them, their regret becomes completely useless. Because now you're not waiting for their validation. You're not waiting for their apology. You're not waiting for them to realize your worth. You already know it. And that right there is your victory. When you truly move on, you don't need to announce it. You don't need to post about it, tell mutual friends, or make a big deal out of it. You just live. You just grow. You just step into the next version of yourself without looking back. And let me tell you, there's nothing more powerful than that. See, people expect closure to come with a conversation, an explanation, or a moment where everything makes sense. But real closure, it comes when you decide to stop looking for it. It comes when you understand that someone else's actions, their mistakes, their inability to appreciate you. That's their burden to carry, not yours. When you stop giving someone access to your emotions, to your energy, to your thoughts, that's when they start to feel the weight of what they lost. They expect you to stay stuck. They expect you to linger, to keep thinking about them, to keep wondering if they'll come back. But when you go silent, when you stop engaging, come. When you stop even acknowledging their presence, that's when the regret hits them the hardest. Because here's the truth, come. People notice when you stop noticing them. They notice when the person who used to care so deeply suddenly doesn't anymore, come. They feel it when the person who used to answer their texts immediately now doesn't respond at all. And the thing about regret, come, it always shows up too late. Now, let's be real. When they start to realize what they lost, they're going to try to come back, become. They're going to reach out, test the waters, maybe even try to act like nothing happened. But by then, you've done the work. You've healed. You've learned that you don't need their validation to know your worth. And that right there, come. That's the difference between who you were before and who you are now. See, when you were caught up in their world, come, you thought your value depended on whether or not they saw it. You thought if they didn't appreciate you, it meant you weren't enough, come. But now you understand that their inability to see your worth had nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. And because of that, come, you're not even interested in proving anything to them anymore. And that's when the real power shift happens. Because when they finally realize what they lost, when they finally start feeling that regret, you won't even care anymore. Come, you'll be too busy living, thriving, growing. You'll be too focused on yourself to even notice their attempts to come back. And trust me, come, that is the moment they will feel your absence the most. You see, people can handle being ignored for a little while. Come, they can handle a cold shoulder, a missed call, a few unanswered texts. But when they realize that you're not just silent, you're gone, come, that's when it truly sinks in. That's when the regret turns into something deeper, come. That's when they have to sit with the reality that they had something amazing and now they don't. But the most beautiful part, come, by the time they realize you won't need them anymore. You won't be waiting for their regret, their apology, their realization. Because you'll already be free, and that is your real victory.